Are you tired of constantly showing up on your podcast, talking about your products and services, and not seeing any sales? Don't worry, you are not alone. Most podcasters actually don't make sales from their podcast, or they really struggle to generate leads with their show. But it's not impossible. We have helped clients do this tons of times. And it's really important that as you're going into your podcast, you're strategic about it and making the most of your show. Today, we're going to be talking about how to turn your listeners into leads. Hello, welcome to Successful Podcasting Unlocked. I'm your host, Alicia Galati. I'm the founder of Galati Media, a full-service podcast management agency where we help business owners launch and maintain lead-generating shows. Today's question is, what are some strategies that we can use to increase our sales through podcasting? Now, this is something that I love talking about because while it's important that we are having fun with our show and creating content that our ideal listener is interested in, as business owners, we don't want to be spending all of our time creating something that doesn't lead directly back to our business. And that way we can actually make sales and increase the revenue for our business through our podcasts. But this can be very frustrating and very overwhelming for new podcasters. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, number one, do you talk about your services? Do you talk about the things that you have for sale? If the answer to that is no, then this episode is definitely going to help you, but I would like you to just start there. Just start talking about what it is that you bring to the table as a business owner and how you help your clients achieve their goals. Within business podcasting, we typically see 4 goals that someone usually is trying to achieve with their podcast. The first is conversion. That means that you are increasing your sales and you're generating leads with your show. The others we're going to be going through over the next few episodes, so make sure you stay tuned for those as well. With a focus in conversion and actually turning your listeners into leads, the first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure that we are creating SMART goals. Now, you've probably heard that acronym before, but it means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. By making sure that our goals are SMART, that will allow us to set predictable and actually achievable goals with our show. I have seen podcasters come to me and they mention how someone else has hundreds of thousands of downloads and why doesn't their show have hundreds of thousands of downloads? And most of the time it goes back to comparing apples to oranges. When we are comparing our podcast to other people or the success that we see someone else have, you can't always compare that because they might have a team of people helping them. They might also have a completely different audience, which is bigger and has more interest in podcasts than yours. It is still possible to generate enough revenue for your business with less than 200 downloads per episode. We have seen clients do this. We've seen clients sell out entire group programs using just their podcasts and conversations from their podcasts in order to sell these out. And those podcasts are very niche and they have less than 200 downloads per episode. So let's go ahead and get into what are some examples of some SMART goals that we can create trying to create conversions with our podcast. The first is exactly what I said, that you have a very niche podcast and you are looking to sell out your group program using your show. Now, in this case, you can say by the end of the year, I would like to sell out my group program, or I would like to pre-sell. You have to have an actual viable group program. Your content has to be leading your ideal listener through a journey of wanting to work with you. There's a lot of different factors that go into this, but that's just an example of a possible lead generating goal you could have. Another example is that you could be using your guests as a way to create connections or collaborations, maybe even get some clients from, or as referral partners to increase the revenue for your business. Now, the beauty of this is that you don't have to worry about the number of downloads your podcast is getting. What you need to be tracking instead is how many people that I've had on my show, what percentage have become connections or collaborators or clients, or maybe even referral partners. What does that percentage look like? And how can I ensure that the people that I have on my show fit into those categories and we can have genuine and real conversations that will lead to business? The third example could be that you are looking to increase your listenership in order to funnel people into your membership. Now, this is going to be a lower ticket item, which means that you need to boost the number of downloads you're getting. You don't need 5 people in order to sell out your group program or 10 people. You might need more like 50 people to pay a lower sum of money, which means you're going to be wanting to focus on the number of people who are downloading your podcast or following, the people who are interacting with you, and then taking it from there to see who's listening to the podcast and then funneling into the membership. So now that we've talked through some of those smart goals around converting your listeners into leads, let's talk through some strategic ways that you can go about doing this. The first is to create a dynamic ad. A dynamic ad is an ad that goes into your podcast, no matter what episode it is, and it is talking about your most up-to-date and most relevant services. If you have a workshop that you're running next week, it doesn't matter if someone is listening to episode 1 or episode 100, they are still getting served that ad for your workshop. The second thing you can do is make the ask. I said that at the top of this episode. It is so important that you are talking to your audience about how they can work with you, getting to know you, getting to know what it is that you do and how you are able to support them. It's also important that you're giving examples of ways that your clients have seen success. I mentioned that we had a client that was able to sell out their group programs with less than 200 downloads per episode. They were very strategic with their content, and that was the focus. The focus was taking those listeners and turning them into people to go into their group membership. And so as we were strategizing the content, it was really important for us that we were guiding them through not only the content that would be in the group program, but also things that would allow the listener to think, wow, if their free content is this incredible, how much more incredible will their other content be? I want to challenge you that in the next 8 to 10 episodes, you are sharing, especially if you are a solo podcaster, or even if you have guests on, dropping ways that you were able to support your clients and how you were able to take them from struggling to thriving. Another action around this to increase conversions is to increase your audience. When I say increase your audience, I don't necessarily mean that you need to be posting on social media all the time. What I really recommend you do is, yes, be on social media. Yes, repurpose your content in all the ways, but get in front of new audiences. This is going to help increase your audience so much quicker than social media. And I highly recommend that you go about strategically guesting on other people's podcasts. Another thing that you can do is review your content. You're going to want to make sure that your content is actually addressing the needs of your clients and the needs of your potential clients and not just fluff pieces. This is where we see a lot of podcasters struggle. They feel like as they are talking about their content and sharing about how they're able to support clients or giving tips or tricks, they feel like they're giving everything away. And that's not really true. The information that we share on our podcasts, someone can Google that. If they really wanted to know, they would be able to go to Google and search the information. Yes, it would take them a little longer. And that's where you come in. If you're able to marry this idea of your stories as well as how you are able to support people and strategies that take them from A to B, then that is where people are going to see, wow, this is so valuable. I can't wait to share it with my friends, and I can't wait to work with this individual. Finally, I want you to make sure that you are tracking your leads. See where they're coming from. If you have an intake form, have a section in there that asks people where they heard about you or where they heard about the membership or the course or whatever it is that you are guiding people to. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about brand visibility and increasing our impact on the world using our podcast. So if that is your goal, make sure you stay tuned for the next episode or listen to the entire series to see what goals are you wanting to focus on in the next 6 months for your show. And if you're looking for more support, I highly recommend you go to galatimedia.com/intensive to learn more about our group program that can help move your podcast from where it is now to where you want to see it. I hope to see you over there. Until next time, happy podcasting.